The summoning. The holographic interface flickered under my fingers, illuminating the small room with a faint blue glow. I had spent weeks deciphering the ancient Thalyrian summoning scripts, piecing together fragments found in abandoned starbases and lost archives. Most people would call it madness, a human attempting to summon an alien being of legendary power, but desperation and curiosity were not qualities I could easily suppress. Coordinates locked, I murmured to myself. Energy signature ready, now or never. I traced the final glyph in the air, watching as its shape formed a radiant, three-dimensional pattern. My pulse raced. Summoning a sentient being was never a trivial endeavor, and the Thalyrians, a warrior race spread across 3 quadrants of the galaxy, were notorious for their temperaments and strength. If I miscalculated, a surge of light erupted in the center of the room. The air vibrated with alien energy, thrumming in sync with my heartbeat. I stepped back, shielding my eyes as the light coalesced into a figure. She stood tall, her armor gleaming like molten silver under the ambient glow. Her eyes were violet orbs that seemed to pierce my very thoughts, and her presence radiated power, control, and centuries of battle-hardened wisdom. "You called me human," she said, her voice simultaneously melodic and commanding. And I answered. I swallowed, awed and terrified. I summoned you, I stammered. I didn't know if it would work. Her lips curved slightly. Few possess the knowledge, courage, or desperation to summon a Thalyrian warrior. You are rare, human. Now speak. Why did you call me? 2. The reason. I explained, cautiously, my predicament. My colony on Aldera, 9 had come under siege by rogue Thalyrian raiders, a splinter faction bent on conquest and chaos. The military response was slow, and the colony's survival hung by a thread. The summoning scripts, though fragmentary, had promised that a warrior summoned in need could turn the tide of battle. Her eyes narrowed. You risked summoning me without knowing the consequences. Do you understand what that entails? I didn't have a choice, I admitted. If you can help, the colony will survive. If not, we're doomed. She studied me silently. The air seemed to shimmer with her presence, and I felt her assessing every fiber of my being. After a long pause, she spoke. Very well, human. I am Lyara, warrior of the Thalyrian High Council. I will aid you, but my methods are not your customs. You will follow my lead or you will die. Understand? I understand, I said, determination rising. I'll follow your lead. 3. The journey to Aldera, 9. Lyara's arrival altered everything. Her mere presence powered the ship's energy shields beyond standard human capabilities. She interfaced with the control systems telepathically, enhancing navigation, targeting, and propulsion. I watched as the quiet hum of the engines transformed into a resonant force, vibrating the hull with raw energy. During the trip to Aldera 9, she taught me about her people's strategies and battle techniques. The Lyrians were not just warriors, they were living conduits of energy. Every movement, every strike, channeled both physical and psychic force. Weapons were extensions of their bodies, and armor was more than protection. It was a declaration of will. I tried to absorb as much as I could, knowing I would need it. By the time we approached Aldera 9, I understood why no human had ever dared to summon a Thalyrian warrior before. 4. The siege. The colony hung precariously on the edge of the Vera Nebula, its defensive turrets firing intermittently at the advancing raiders. As we approached, Lyara's aura flared, and the ship itself seemed to resonate with anticipation. You cannot fight them as they expect, she said. You must fight as they do not anticipate. Observe first, strike second. We descended, and I saw her in action for the first time. Lyara leapt from the ship, landing with the grace and force of a predator. Her energy blade hummed as it cut through the first wave of raiders, her movements fluid, precise, devastating. The raiders tried to retaliate, but her psychic awareness predicted every attack before it happened. I barely had time to react. "She's incredible," I muttered, ducking behind a collapsed turret. "Watch," Lyara commanded. "Learn." And so I did. Over the next hour, I observed, moved, and adapted. She corrected my mistakes, guided my attacks, and taught me to anticipate movements with a fraction of a second's lead. Together, we turned the tide, pushing the raiders back with a combination of human ingenuity and Thalyrian mastery. The hidden threat. As the last raiders fell, an ominous pulse emanated from the nebula. The raiders had been the vanguard. A massive vessel emerged, cloaked in a field that distorted both light and energy readings. It was a Thalyrian Dreadnought, ancient, formidable, and nearly invincible. "They sent reinforcements," I said, fear rising. "We can't fight that." Lyara's eyes narrowed. "We fight human. Retreat is surrender, and surrender is death. We will adapt or we will die. I hope you are ready." Her plan was audacious. Using the nebula's energy fluctuations, she allowed the Dreadnought to approach while simultaneously channeling a portion of her energy into the ship's systems. Shields overcharged, engines accelerated, and we became a lightning-fast strike force. 6. The battle. The Dreadnought's weapons were devastating. Energy beams tore through the surrounding space, sending debris scattering. But Lyara was faster. She leapt from the ship's surface, landing on the Dreadnought's hull, slicing through energy barriers as if they were paper. Each strike sent psychic feedback, disabling their weapon nodes temporarily. I piloted the ship, following her instructions, directing our remaining human forces to cut off escape routes and rescue trapped colonists. The Dreadnought reacted, adapting to our tactics, but Lyara anticipated every countermeasure. Hours passed, the battle raging with intensity. By the end, the Dreadnought's core was exposed. Lyara gestured, and I fired a precise strike, detonating the core. The massive vessel shattered into fragments, drifting silently through the nebula. 7. Aftermath. The colony survived. Human survivors emerged from shelters, cheering, tears streaming down their faces. I couldn't stop staring at Lyara, still radiating energy, still perfect, and terrifying in her composure. "You have learned well, human," she said, "but there is much more to master." I owe you everything," I admitted. "You owe me nothing," she said, voice softening slightly. "You have courage. You have respect. That is rare among your kind." I chose to answer because I saw potential, not weakness. 8. The Alliance. Over the following weeks, Lyara stayed with me and the colony. She trained human forces, shared knowledge of Thalyrian tactics, and forged a new alliance between species. Together, we established a defensive perimeter that no enemy could penetrate. At night, she would meditate, her energy radiating softly, illuminating the quiet streets of Aldera 9. Sometimes I would approach, asking questions about her world, her people, her history. She answered sparingly, but every word carried weight, wisdom, and a glimpse of a life far beyond my imagination. 9. The next summon. One evening, as we gazed at the stars, she spoke. "Humans are fragile, but not without merit. If your colony ever faces danger again, summon me. But remember this, summoning is not a game. It binds me, and it binds you. Use it wisely." "I understand," I said, "and I will be ready." Her gaze softened, a rare vulnerability shining through. You have done well, human. We are not so different, you and I. Both survivors, both warriors in our own way. X Legacy. Years later, the story of the human who summoned a Thalyrian warrior woman spread across the frontier. Colonies flourished under our protection, and the tale became legend. Humans learned to respect the Thalyrians, and alliances were forged that had never existed before. But the true story remained ours. The bond formed in desperation, trust earned through survival, and the unspoken understanding between two warriors from different worlds. Lyara never truly left. Whenever the colony needed protection, whenever danger arose, her presence was there, silent, commanding, unstoppable. And I, Kael, the human who dared to summon her, would never forget the day the alien warrior woman answered my call. The galaxy was wide and dangerous, but together, we were a force no enemy could withstand.